So how did I find a coaching model that works here? Well, I'll tell you what, the truth of the matter is it was pretty ugly early. I was coaching track and field at Grinnell back in, started in 1980, and we were middle of the pack, first conference meet. And by the fourth year I was here, I had coached them down to last place at the conference meet. So I was the first coach in 100 years of track and field at the college to get last at the conference meet. First coach and only coach. Not something I'm proud of, but I'm proud that I was able to bottom out there and realize what I was doing was not working, that I had to try a whole different tack. And when I did that, things changed dramatically. I mean, I was actually planning on leaving after that fourth year, so I didn't recruit anybody, and ended up being talked into staying and another year, and we ended up jumping up to, I think, third at the conference the next year in track with no new folks to help. It was the same group. And how does that happen? You go from last to third with the same people. I mean, it's clearly something had gone on there in terms of the infrastructure of the team and the team dynamic. And I'll tell you what happened here shortly. This is the coach-centered model. Take a look at this basic diagram, and you see that the coach is the center of it. And every athlete is like a little soldier around the coach. The coach is the center of it. That says it all. This was my model when I came to Grinnell. This was how I coached, mainly out of fear. I didn't know anything about coaching. I mean, I knew how to pole vault, but I didn't know anything about most of the events. I knew nothing about football. I was coaching that, and I guess you could call it that. And it created all kinds of problems because it was my way or the highway. In the coach-centered model, the athletes are inputs into the training system of the coach. So they're simply falling in, they're taking a place into my formula. I'm in charge. It's my goals and values that are put forward ahead of the athletes. So in that particular case, it's one head making all the decisions with no input from the athletes. So the truth is, some athletes may function well in this model and actually improve, but many, many others won't and not have their individual needs met in that model. So it's really problematic, a coach-centered model. And you'll often see this kind of model in team sports at the Division I level because coaches are fearful to give up that control. They want all of the control. The athlete-centered model is a very different model, and this is what we've learned works here. And as you can see on the slide, the athlete is the center, not the coach. And so the coach is part of the environment. So you've got training, recovery, nutrition, society, the environment, which includes the team dynamic and the coach-athlete relationship, and then academics. These are all variables that are part of and parcel to the process that will result in success or failure. It is the opposite of the coach-centered model. Here, the coach acts as a beneficial stimulus to the athlete. So just like nutrition and training and restoration and environmental factors will influence performance, the coach can too, but they're not driving the ship. The goal of both the athlete and the coach in this model is performance and development of the athlete. So the athlete-centered model really is not just about balancing everything in a functional way. It's also about improving the person and not just the runner. Here's some specifics about the coach-centered coaching model. Take a look at how each of these general things are covered with this model. In communication, simple. It's a one-way process. What the coach says goes. In terms of goals, the coach actually will dictate the goals for the athlete. You know, they may listen to the athlete, but it's really the coach's ambitions and goals for the athlete that are going to come forward. In terms of knowledge, well, that's the problem with the coach-centered model, is you're limited to the knowledge and biases of the coach. And so only a few athletes are going to see benefit, and others may not. This is really important to understand. Control and roles. This model, the coach-centered model, is really about dependency. The athlete depends on the coach to answer all concerns and questions. Now, where this is problematic is during the race. I mean, when you're out there racing and you're off on the cross-country course somewhere, you don't have the coach standing over you, giving you feedback and information and leading you, if you will. You have to have the capacity to do that on your own as an athlete. Does the coach-centered model provide for that? As far as the competitive experience, it's extrinsic in nature. I mean, it's all based on end result. This is a zero-sum game with the coach's centered model. It's about winning. It's about awards and accolades and running fast times and getting the highest place. And that's what it's about in this model. On the flip side, with the athlete-centered model,